If your business has not grown within the last 6 months, there is a formula that will tell you why. My name is Graham Singh. I'm the founder of GTM Academy. I run an academy of over 50 entrepreneurs. I've worked with founders that are doing over 5 million a year. And today I'm going to be sharing with you what 2 things you need to get right if you want your business to actually grow. The first thing is, in the equation, you have your plan. The second thing is your execution. That equals progress. So plan multiplied by execution equals progress. It's as simple as that. Don't let anyone convince you that it's not. When it actually comes to it, most people get this wrong and they don't have the right progress because, they might have an amazing plan, a perfect bulletproof plan, but the execution is terrible. And as a result, if you have a 100% plan and a 0% execution, you're going to get 0 progress. Whereas if you've got the worst plan in the world, plan that will get you nowhere, but you're working really hard, you're still going to get 0 progress. So 0 times 100 this time is still equal to 0. So you need to have both of these right if you want to actually start making progress. And the better your plan and your effort are, the more progress that you're going to make. Let me break down how to have a great plan and a great execution. Step 1, if you want to have a great plan, reverse engineer what you want. Now, because we're in business, I'm going to be talking about finances. So step 1 is reverse engineer the money specifically. So let's say I'm a founder and I want to get GTM Academy up to £1 million a month. If I want to get it to £1 million a month, I need to think, how many customers is that? How much are they going to be paying me every single month? Now, for example, let's say if my service costs £1,000 a month and I do 1 million divided by 1,000, and I should be able to figure this out myself, but it's 1,000. I need to have 1,000 customers paying me £1,000 a month. If I know that that's what I need to have to get my goal, I need to break that down even further. Question is, can I get someone to pay me £1,000 a month? Yes, let's say I proved it, I've run some ads, I've done some sales, I've done whatever, and someone says yes. Okay, great. There's a whole test within that. There's a whole plan within validating whether or not someone will pay you £1,000 a month. Okay, so you need to figure out what that actually looks like. What are the things that you need to get right? What do you need to check off? What actual actions do you need to take within that plan? Then the other side of the plan might be, okay, I know I can get someone to pay me £1,000 a month. The second thing is, how do I get 1,000 of these people? What acquisition strategy am I going to use? What different things am I going to include within this? What's my marketing message is going to look like? You need to reverse engineer the actual plan. And that's step 1. Most people don't spend enough time figuring out what their plan actually is because they don't reverse engineer from the top goal and work backwards. Step 2 is pick one thing and focus on it. So once you've got a plan, you have to say, I'm going to see this plan through. I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that this plan is executed. And you might learn things along the way, and you might need to adapt, and you might need to adjust things. But what you do not do is you do not throw away the plan. You do not stop entirely. You do not quit on the plan. Because the truth is, if you reverse engineer the money, and you can see that there's a way that you can get there, if you run into some roadblockers along the way, that's fine. That's all they are, roadblockers. Don't let them stop you from following the plan. Because I can almost guarantee you, if you try and go through and find a different way, and you'll be able to make something work. You'll be able to make some progress. But if you quit and you try something completely different, it's going to be so much harder for you. So reverse engineer the money, and then step 2 is actually commit to it. Step 3 is validating the numbers. Every business is built on assumptions of maths, or every vision of the business that you're trying to create is built on assumptions of maths. So what you need to do is you need to start validating every single assumption that you have. Okay, great. One assumption might be I can acquire a customer for less than £500. And you go and test that. Another one might be my customers will stay with me for on average 12 months. Okay, great, validate that. Another one might be, how much people are willing to pay for my service. Go validate that. You need to go and validate all the assumptions that you're guessing based on the maths that you have. This is why I have so much confidence in my plan, because I know my average acquisition cost at the moment is around £300. I know on average people stay with us for 6 to 12 months. I know people are willing to pay us a good amount of money every single month. So these are the things that we have to validate, and that gives me more and more confidence in the plan. Because there's one thing seeing that someone else does it, it's another thing you actually delivering it yourself. If you can do these 3 things, your business will be on track to grow. If you don't get these 3 steps right, then no matter what you do, your plan's always going to be 0. You're never going to have confidence in your plan, and as a result, that's going to affect the level of commitment that you have. So this is something that I learned when I was doing some goal setting theory. And if you're not familiar with Edwin Locke, he actually developed goal setting theory to a large amount of what we know to today. And he says, when you set a goal, you actually simultaneously decide how much you're going to commit to it. So let me tell you what that actually means. If I set a goal that I'm going to add 20 kg of muscle within the next 6 months, if I don't actually believe that, I'm not going to mentally commit to it, and my subconscious mind is not going to let me take the actions that actually allow me to say, yes, I'm going to do it. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to get the plan right so that mentally you'll be in the right headspace to commit moving forward. Now, if you want to be able to execute on your plan to a high standard, there's 4 things that you need to do. The first thing is a mindset shift. And the way that I recommend you approach your business is actually something that you probably don't want to do. And it's approaching it like it's a job. The reason why I say this is because imagine that someone was paid to do exactly what you're doing. How would that make you think about what you're doing? If I was paid to, make phone calls or run better ads and things like that, and I was procrastinating and I wasn't really doing things that I knew I should be doing, does that make sense? Would you continue to pay yourself? Would you consider yourself a good employee? Probably not. Think about it like that and make sure that you execute like someone you'd be happy to pay. That's a really strong mindset shift that you can have. It can absolutely revolutionize how your business works. And let me tell you a quick story about how this mindset was implemented for me. The way that I worked before hiring my first full-time employee was so different. I didn't have set times that I'd wake up. I didn't have set times that I'd work. I didn't have specific tasks that I would force myself to work on. I would do whatever I kind of felt like. I felt like I was an entrepreneur, so, I should be able to do whatever I want. Yes, I would get dragged into like day-to-day tasks and delivering things like that. But when I had an employee and I was paying them a salary and I was saying like, look, I'm paying you this much for your time. When I realized that that's what I'm actually doing, I'm paying for someone's time, and I started to treat myself like, would I be happy if I was paying me? Would I actually be willing to give me a salary? The answer was no, because I wasn't showing up on time. I wasn't focused on the right things. I was procrastinating. I was getting distracted. I wasn't happy with the progress that I was making. Often, when you think about yourself, you give yourself all these reasons, all these excuses of why it's okay if you're distracted or why it's okay if you're procrastinating. But if you treat yourself like an employee, you'll stop doing that. So that's a really strong mindset shift that I recommend. The second thing to maximize your effort is focus on inputs and not outputs. You've probably heard this a million times before, but how much do you actually do it? How much do you focus on the revenue that you're making compared to the number of leads that you get? How much do you focus on the close rate compared to the sales training that you're doing? A lot of the time, we try and grasp onto the outputs because we just want the safety net. We want the security. We want to feel good about things. And we keep looking at the outcome rather than looking at the inputs. And this is why your plan is so important, because if your plan doesn't outline the right inputs, then that's why you'll keep focused on the outputs. Because if I know for every 100 leads that we get, we close 10 of them, then I'm not going to care about how much money's in the account. I'm going to care about how many leads I'm getting in month on month. So I'm focused on how much input are we doing on lead generation. If you don't have a good plan, then you're not going to focus on that. You're going to focus on the outputs. You're going to scramble and you're never going to get to where you want to. The third thing is build a scorecard. Build something that actually tracks it. So tying on from my last point, if you want to maximize effort, actually just tracking things is going to make it easy for you to see what winning actually looks like. Here's a clue. You want to make winning really obvious and easy to understand. Winning looks like generating more leads. Winning looks like closing more deals. Winning looks like more marketing, right? More time spent on marketing. You can do these things because that makes winning really obvious. It's really clear what needs to be done. And the more clear and obvious something is, the easier it is going to be to actually accomplish it because people know what you actually expect from them and you know what you expect from yourself. So you want to maximize effort, make it really obvious what you actually need to accomplish. Then the fourth and final thing, and this is such a basic thing that most people don't do, is they don't get accountability. So find someone to keep you accountable. Find someone to check in with you. If you had someone accountable every single week, every single day that's checking in to make sure that you're doing things, how much more would you progress? How much faster would you get things done? It's unparalleled. You know for a fact it would make a massive difference. So if you got the right plan, you got the right systems in place, you got the right ability to execute, and you add that level of accountability, it's game over. You're going to be so much more likely to execute. But people don't do this. People don't do the basics. You don't do it. Why? You're self-sabotaging. You just don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in your plan. Like, why would you not want someone to hold you accountable if you've got something that can make you 5, 10, 20 times more money, that could give you the freedom that you want? Why are you not getting that accountability? It's such a big thing that most people overlook. So my last point is get accountable. Find someone to hold you accountable. Find someone to make sure that you get the right things done. So these are my top tips. If your business is not grown and you know you need it to grow, then do these things. It's not complicated. It's not difficult. It's simple, but it's hard. And that's why most people avoid it. Take this advice or don't take this advice. It's completely up to you. But if you're here and you're watching this video, it's probably because you want your business to grow. It's as simple as that. If you enjoyed this video and you feel like you need more brutal, honest, and upfront advice on how you can actually grow and scale your business, then check out one of these videos. I'm sure they'll help you out. And thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like, and stay tuned for other videos.